And we are joined now by a political activist and former member of the original Black Panther Party, the Larry Pinkney, joins us now. And Larry, I can't wait to get your take on all this. I mean, don't you think it's common sense that ISIS would infiltrate or disguise themselves as a Muslim refugee, take advantage of the refugee crisis? Or do you think the rumors are true and Donald Trump just hates Muslims?
Well, let's use what you just referred to, and that's common sense. The reality is that ISIL, Daesh, etc., they've already indicated that this is precisely what they're going to do. What do I mean? That they're going to use the refugee/immigrant motif to enter into both Europe and the United States, etc. So, I mean, where are people's minds to ISIL or Daesh, whatever you choose to call it, themselves have made that clear. Also, if you look at the bombings that took place at the airport, and I'm not talking about yesterday, I'm talking about a few months ago in Brussels, Belgium, all right? Reports have already come out that these folks who were involved, or at least some of them, were working with other folks who said that they were, quote, refugees. Now, some of them were actually homegrown, whatever the hell that means, born and raised in Belgium or France, all right? But we have to understand that it's not about racism. It's about common sense. And when people accuse other folks who are using common sense of racism, what does that tell you? It tells me that these folks have got their heads in the sand and their posterior sticking out. And guess what? ISIL Daesh will kick their posteriors as they stick out of the sand. But unfortunately, those of us who have been warning about this, we are also in danger too. And I'm certainly not anti any religion, as long as that religion adheres to just plain common human decency. That's all.
Well, and here's the deal. We now know that the Obama administration is largely responsible for arming these terrorists to begin with. I mean, they created that Frankenstein. And most of the public, they don't understand that ISIS was created by Western intelligence to start proxy wars in the Middle East. Right now, they're in Libya, which Libya, let's face it, it's a failed state right now. They have strongholds and control large portions of Iraq. And they are being used by the Obama administration to take out President Bashar al-Assad in Syria. So we're sending these guys weapons. I mean, you've seen the mysterious weapons drops that continue to somehow magically end up in the hands of Syrian militants in Syria and Iraq. We've seen the huge stockpile of weapons that are sent to them. They've got Toyota pickup trucks. They've got tanks. They've got Humvees. And compliments in Benghazi, they now have surface-to-air missiles. So it is a total miss out there right now, and none dare call it conspiracy. Instead, they label it a conspiracy theory. But I like to say, I call it this. I say if President Obama is arming terrorists while at the same time disarming the American public, I call that treason.
It is treason. And he knows it's treason, but you see, he thinks he can get away with it. That's his objective, to get away with it. He doesn't care that it's treason. So what? And by the way, since you mentioned what you just said just a couple minutes ago, just 2 or 3 weeks ago or thereabout, Obama's Secretary of State, current Secretary of State, John Kerry, was confronted when he was visiting, I believe it was Italy, and told in no uncertain terms what? That the U.S. had created, and I'm not talking about the American people, I'm talking about the U.S. government, which are two different things. That the U.S. government had in fact created ISIL, Daesh, ISIS, whatever you want to call it. Okay? This is not a conspiracy theory. I only wish it were. It is reality, and we better be prepared for it.
Well, and by the way, I also want to point out that our ally in the Middle East, Turkey, and along with Saudi Arabia, you know, and Turkey was just attacked by ISIS yesterday. They played a major role in the creation of ISIS as well. And the Turkish prime minister himself was caught last November shipping guns to ISIS terrorists. So this, in my opinion, it's more than blowback. All right, this is the old familiar game that it was started by the CIA way back in the late 1940s. You know, remember they took out Guatemala and then Iran, and then currently we're just talking about Syria, Libya, Iraq, and it's the game of divide and conquer. They destabilize the nation by wreaking havoc. They send in a bunch of bad guys to rape and pillage the nation. They send them arms. They create these massive protests, civil unrest, which usually ends up as a civil war. And then, lo and behold, the United States walks in as the savior and establishes order out of chaos. And that's when they install their puppet dictators. They take control of the military. They rob the nation of its resources. And they have another strategic placemat on the grand chessboard. And I'm here to tell you that they are doing the same thing in this country now. They're using the same techniques as divide and conquer, and there's nothing more that the Obama administration would rather see right now than a race war. Am I right?
Well, not only that, of course you're right, but not only that, it's if you can divide people, keep those people in a state of constant fear of each other, fear of one another, then you can control and manipulate those people. And that's what the drone man, you know, NDAA signing, double talking Barack Obama and his minions, including Hillary Clinton, we saw he died. What a bloodthirsty piece of something that is. But in any event, that's what it's all about. And it's not just in the so-called Middle East or in Africa, but if you look back, you'll see that they did the same thing in the former national state of Yugoslavia, formerly called Yugoslavia. Same thing. Create these so-called revolutions, they're really not revolutions, where is, as you so eloquently pointed out, Darren, it's about causing havoc, making sure that they can topple whatever government is in power, especially if that government doesn't agree with their policies, i.e. U.S. government policies, and then coming in as the so-called savior. In fact, they were the serpent, not the savior. They were the ones planting, euphemistically, the time bomb, and they're going off. So we in this country need to understand that they don't just do that in other countries. They're doing it right here in the United States. Wake up. We must understand that. I'm sorry to get so animated, but people need to understand that's what this game is about. Hillary Clinton, Hillary the butcher, Hillary the liar, Hillary the murderer, Clinton, and Barack Obama and his minions are all part of the same game of subterfuge and control and manipulation. So on that's where I'm from. That's what I see. Same kind of thing, only it's more sophisticated now, Darren.
Well, that's right. I mean, Martin Luther King had a dream, and now we've got a nightmare. Hey, I've got a quote for you from jazz legend Miles Davis. When you hit a wrong note, it's the next note that makes it good or bad. And we've had 8 years of Bush followed by 8 years of Obama. I'd say that qualifies as hitting the wrong note. So the next note, it better not be Hillary Clinton or this country is done. Larry Pinkney, you got the last word.
You got absolutely right. Go ahead, Miles Davis. I'm a big fan of Miles, as you probably No.
That's why I picked
Absolutely. Absolutely correct. Absolutely. Let me just say to all of our viewers, listeners, brothers and sisters out there, please, please understand what the name of this game is. It's divide, control, and conquer. We must not let them do that. Not in this country. In fact, not throughout Mother Earth. Thank you so much, Darren, my brother, and my love and strength to all my brothers and sisters at InfoWars.
All right, Larry, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again real soon. And I just want to remind our audience that Larry Pinkney speaks from experience. I mean, the guy knows what he's talking about. We have the FBI file that they have on Larry Pinkney. We got it through the Freedom of Information Act. This is the official file on Larry Pinkney, and it says Pinkney is potentially dangerous due to his demonstrated ability to unify black and white. His associates are Negro, white, and Chinese. Special attention is given to neutralizing him, and they did just that. Compliments of COINTELPRO. So this is this fight is real, ladies and gentlemen. They want to divide and conquer, and anybody who is out there unifying us is a direct threat to the globalists.